Hey guys, welcome back to my fish room. New year, new fish rack. Let's go. I picked up this shelving system from Bunnings, which is just a hardware store here in Australia. I'm sure you guys already know that. It was a cheap one. It was like 49 bucks. It's 900 wide. I might be wrong, could be 59. I can't remember if I got the one up from that. Each shelf holds 150 kilos, which is perfect for what I want to use it for. Now, I have made some modifications to this already, and I will get into that before we start. But basically what I'm going to do is I've got all of my fry tanks and a couple of nano tanks that I just want to pop on the shelving system. It's just going to make it easier for water changes for me, which is what we're going to use it for. So we're not putting anything too heavy on it. We're not going to go ahead and put a 3-foot fish tank on there because that's crazy. It will not cope. But for nano tanks, if you are looking to build a nano tank rack, this is a great option. Let's jump in. Let's have a look at what we've already done to the rack to make it a little bit more suited for my purposes. And then we're gonna get into doing some more modifications. So let's get started. Okay, so the first modification that I've done is I actually swapped out these shelves. Now this shelving system comes with MDF shelves. You could totally use those, absolutely fine. I would recommend sealing them, so painting them and making sure that the MDF is completely sealed before you're putting any like water on top of it. However, I had the option to go ahead and just get some whiteboard that have been edged because Mr. Finfinity, my darling husband, is a cabinet maker. So he has access to this stuff that is going to get chucked away because it's not being used in jobs and things like that. So I was able to pick these up. He edged them for me. They are now sealed MDF boards. So we just replaced basically all of them nice and easy. Now, the second thing that has happened off camera is my lights. In Australia, it is illegal to go ahead and wire in lights that are at the 240 volt or you've got to plug into mains power. I had to get an electrician to do this. However, it is still extremely DIY-able. These lights are from Bunnings and they actually come with a plug-in adapter already attached to it. My electrician actually cut them off and wired them all together so that I've got two there, and two there, and then a single plug to plug them all in. I had to get sort of all that done prior to being able to start this, mostly because the shelves actually just sort of, because we're in a wet room here. This room is very, very humid and hot all the time. The shelves that I had not sealed just disintegrated in front of my eyes. So that was the first problem I had. And then of course the lighting, I wanted to consolidate my plugs. You don't have to do that. Like I said, you can definitely put power boards in and plug them in. That's pretty much it for the modifications that we've done so far. What I'm planning on doing is we're going to have tanks on the top shelf, tanks here, tanks there. Nothing on the bottom shelf, so there's no lighting down there. I wasn't going to put lighting down there. It's also way too close to the ground to do water changes comfortably. The plan is that my top two shelves are going to be my nano tanks with my better fish. I've got my hill streams in a nano tank as well, which I'm actually going to probably change because they're having babies and there's not enough space. I have to problem solve that pretty quickly. Those two tanks, they're 1x1s. They're going to go here. I've got shrimp tanks that go on the top rack because they fit up there. And then I've got my fry tanks that are going to go on the bottom two shelves. So they're still high enough for me to be able to water change them quite easily. Also enough space for me to add some more fry trays, or not fry trays, fry tanks. They're just little tanks. I just keep my babies in there, usually rainbow fish, stir-bys, little babies that aren't ready to go into a massive tank yet. So just like a transitioning period. And of course, keeping that water clean is really important, and I am finding it hard in my current setup. The next modification that we need to do though is to make sure that all these tanks are getting air for their filtration. So we're gonna need to make an air manifold. Now, this room has air attached, like I've got air pumps sort of dotted around the room. So we are gonna end up ripping everything out of here and making a new room with an air manifold. So I want this manifold to be able to plug into wherever I need it to be to get air. So we're going to do that now. We're going to build this manifold using irrigation hose. This is 13 mil irrigation hose that I've just picked up from a hardware store. I'm going to use threaded and barbed adapters for 4 mil hose and a couple of end caps. This is the first step to making the air. We're going to make the main manifold that's going to sit at the top of this rack. Okay, so I've already done one, but I have this tool from the same company, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this to punch the hole to make sure that it's tight. Because this is going to be air, that's really why we want to make sure that it's nice and tight. We don't get any leakage. Basically, all I'm going to do is push down till I go through like that, grab an adapter, pop it in the tool like so, and then you can use it to push and tighten it in. Perfect. And there you go. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that all the way through. I've gone ahead and I've tapped all these in here. Now I've ended up with 18 adapters for all the tanks, plus 2 extras just for some air stones in case I need extra air stones for whatever reason, whether it be for babies, whether it be for medication, anything, I've got some air stones. So let's go ahead and screw it to the wall. So I was gonna actually pop it onto the rack itself, but I've decided that it'll be better off up the top above it. And I've just got some little clamps that I'm going to screw to the wall, and that's gonna hold this in place. So let's do that now. Okay. That is the little manifold above the door on the wall. Happy with that. All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. It has been a week since we've done anything with this shelf. So I am going to push forward. We are gonna add some air to this shelf. So the way that I want to do that is I'm going to add these gang valves to each of the layers or to each of the shelves so that the tanks that are sitting on this shelf can get their air supply from here. So the way that I'm going to do that is I've got these zip ties that have a little like screw hole there. I'm going to attach them to the top here, which will do these tanks, and I've got more that'll go down the layers. So I'm going to attempt to use my phone to get you guys a really good visual on how I'm going to do this. It's pretty simple. Basically, you get a little screw, goes through the hole like that, and then you can screw it into wherever you need to screw it into. So it's basically like a cable tie situation. So that's what we're going to do. And then I will show you, I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you what it sort of looks like afterwards and how we're going to then put the hosing onto it from the air pump. All right, we did it. So you saw just before, all I did was screw a zip tie in, zip tie it to the top of each shelf. Great. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have to move this whole thing back into its little corner. So it's actually gonna sit in there above the door. Now you can actually see that I've started adding black air tubing to my little manifold that we made. What I've actually decided to do is incorporate all of like my brine shrimp and everything into this manifold. Let's shuffle her back and I'll start adding the black tubing that I'm gonna use to our gang valves, because that's what this video is about. Okay, and there she is in her little spot, which is awesome. So I have tucked her away a little bit, but I think ultimately that'll be okay. It'll still make it really, really easy to do water changes. So I'm very excited to get this started. All right, so now we have to attach these gang valves to this mess of cords that I've got floating here. And then because I like air to be in a circuit, I tend to do both sides. So we've got our first side, which is gonna go here. And then I've got my second side, which is gonna go here. Now I do that because I like the air to run on the circuit. And I find that that actually helps keep the pressure correct, if that makes sense. It keeps it really, like it's not going to one end and stopping, so you don't end up with like dropping air pressure. This stuff here is actually, it's very stiff. It's irrigation tube from Bunnings. Like it's 4 mil tubing, but it doesn't like going on the end of these things. So I just get a lighter, heat that up, and sort of press it on there. That is the first gang valve done. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. to every single one. So I've got 1, 2, 3 gang valves to do. So I'm just going to do that off camera, but it's the same process. So the next step to do is to now move these tanks onto the racking so that I can then hook the air up and make sure that everything is working really nicely. So to do this, now these are quite small tanks, so we're not going to have too much trouble moving them. All I need to do is basically drain the water right down, so the fish can still swim, but it's, significantly lighter, and then we can just move them across. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, and hopefully you'll see in just a second that they will be on the racking system. I'm midway through and it's already looking really good, so I'm very excited. So that's the tanks in. Great. What I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to take all these air hoses here and I'm going to plug them in to our gang valves. All right, the air is hooked up. I'll show you guys real quick. I can't really see it. So that's my gang valve there, and then that's connected there. However, I have to adjust some things because it's lost connection to air. So like my eggs here are not bubbling anymore, but that's okay. We'll get that going again. They'll be right. But yeah, so now all I got to do now is fill her up. All right, guys. So I got all the air going. I got the hang on the back filter for these hill streams plugged in, and we're running really good. She looks great. I'm so happy with the outcome. I do have a few more tanks that I'm going to pop in on that bottom shelf. At the moment, it's just the tetras by themselves, but that's okay. I had to adjust the air using taps and, of course, those gang valves that had the adjustments on them, just to get the right airflow through everything. But ultimately, it worked pretty smoothly. The air bit, just that bit. Honestly, this project has been really, really difficult. I found it hard to it's not a difficult process to set something like this up. It's actually it's fun and it's easy and it's, the results are great. But for me to give you the information on how to do it was just the difficult bit for me. I couldn't get it across, but I hope you guys learned something. I hope this helped you if you're setting up a racking system or you're thinking about it. I definitely can do another one on how we actually build our racks, because of course these racks here are all homemade. My husband, Mr. Finfinity, he actually makes them for me and we set them up together. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments down below and I can definitely do a little video on how we do that. But yeah, so far this is what we've, it's coming together really nicely. I still have to fill up the shrimp tanks that are above me. They're RO water, and I remineralize the RO water. So I've just got that running. I thought my little, stash was full, but it's not. So we're just filling them up. They'll be all right for a little bit while that fills up. And yeah. If you liked the video, comment down below, give me a like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.